Fox 45 is following breaking news. At least 3 people are dead after a mass shooting in northwest Baltimore. Fox 45's Vincent Hill is live with the latest. It may be pretty chilly tomorrow, but Ravens fans are on fire cheering for their team. How Ravens and Texans fans are gearing up to brave the cold.
And snow continues to taper, but now we're bracing for that dangerous cold tomorrow. I'll let you know when you can finally expect warmer temperatures.
Live from WBFF in Baltimore, this is Fox 45 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Kai Jackson. Thank you for staying with us. Tonight we're following breaking news out of northwest Baltimore where multiple people have been killed. Let's go right to Fox 45's Vincent Hill. He joins us live from the scene with more. Vincent.
Yeah, guys, so according to Baltimore police, this all unfolded around 8 o'clock. Let me go ahead and step out of the way so you can see this is still a very active scene. Now, initial reports were originally that one person was deceased. Now, according to Baltimore police, we now know 3 adult males are dead, 1 injured with non-life-threatening injuries. Now, Commissioner Worley actually came out and spoke about this, and I asked how does he feel about starting 2024, much the same way we started 2023 with the mass shooting that we had over at Edmondson near the high school there, and he talked about his anger when it comes to guns.
I said the other day that I don't get frustrated, but I think the gun situation here in this city is frustrating to a point that, like the proliferation of guns on this scene, and just the fact it seems as if a lot of people are carrying guns than used to.
That just after 8 o'clock tonight, they got call of a shooting. They said that when they got here, they found 3 victims. They were all adult men.
And back out here live, again, you can see the scene is still very active. Again, just to recap, this all started around 8 o'clock this evening. Reports of a shooting in the 5200 block here. And now we know 3 adult males are dead. 1 is in the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. No word yet on a suspect or suspects. Commissioner did mention that there are at least 2 or 3 guns used in this shooting. For now, we're live in Baltimore. Vincent Hill, Fox 45 News.
Vincent, thank you. And Fox 45 is on weather alert tonight as we brace for a chilly start to your weekend. Right now, you're taking a live look across the area. While today we saw our second biggest snowfall of the year, tomorrow we're expecting dangerously cold temperatures with wind chills in the single digits. And fans and players alike will feel it during the Ravens' first playoff game. The freezing temperatures prompted Baltimore City to issue a cold blue extreme alert tonight through Monday morning. The city health department reminds people to drink plenty of fluids and check on those who are vulnerable, like children and the elderly. If it's too cold for you to be outside, it's too cold for your pet. Tonight, we're tracking winter weather across the region. Let's check in with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax. Jasmine?
Thanks, Kai. We're still keeping track of a couple of light snow showers, very isolated at this point across the state. The snow will continue to taper as we get closer to midnight, but after that, we are tracking dangerously cold temperatures. Today, yes, it was cold enough to snow, but tomorrow we'll be dealing with Arctic high pressure, and that's going to impact much of the East Coast, leading to temperatures around 20, even 40 degrees below average. So you can expect a major cool down, but the winds are really going to make it feel bad. We're talking wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour and wind chills only in the single digits. Now, once we head into Sunday, that Arctic high pressure starts to move away. Temperatures will begin to slowly rise. We'll have higher numbers a little bit later on next week. Currently, we're seeing numbers in the 20s and in the low 30s. These temperatures for this time of night higher than our afternoon temperatures tomorrow. Coming up, I'll let you know just how high the temperatures get and how it's going to feel in my Weather Authority forecast. Kai?
Jasmine, thank you. After 716 days without snow, Maryland definitely got its share this week. In Fells Point, bar and restaurant owners cleared the snow and slush for any customers braving it all to pop in. In fact, the owners of Cooper told us that he had blankets available for customers, and of course, they were Ravens purple. In Bel Air, our cameras caught snowplows clearing the roads. Drivers were busy clearing snow off their cars. One resident tells Fox 45, while the snow makes the roads more dangerous, he and his family do have fun in the snow. And over at Cow Creek Farm, that's in Carroll County, farmers tell us there's no such thing as a snow day for them. They always have to work. They made sure the animals stayed warm and even broke up water that turned to ice. And in Towson, there were sleds and snowboards galore. The hills at Rogers Forge were full of kids making the most of their snow day. Our own Rebecca Pryor, who's a kid at heart, even joined in on the fun.
I'm going to do this one time and one time only. Okay, everybody ready? Say, reporting live for Fox 45 News. Oh, God. It's like riding a bike. It's like riding a bike.
All right, Rebecca did well. She little collision at the end, but she did good. Well, some of you have been sending in your snow pictures, and we continue to enjoy them. Take a look at this one. This cute dog duo. This is Max and Sadie making the most of their snow day. I think Max and Sadie are having a ball out there. Thank you, Carrie, for sending in this picture. They deserve some treats for that. And Angela sent us in these absolutely adorable photos of Cosmo. I don't know about you, but I think Cosmo really enjoys the snow. So much so, he's even dressed up for the occasion. Cosmo, great outfit. And if you went out sledding today or building a snowman or even had a snowball fight, we'd like to see it. Scan that QR code on your screen. That will take you to foxbaltimore.com, where you can upload pictures and videos, all powered by Stackler. Wake up tomorrow morning with Fox 45 Morning News as we track the freezing temperatures. Meteorologist Amy Aronson has your full forecast starting at 7 a.m. Here's a live look at M&T Bank Stadium tonight. The Ravens have their first playoff matchup against the Houston Texans tomorrow, right here in Baltimore. If you're heading out to the game, bundle up. It will be cold. We have team coverage tonight, getting you ready for the game. Here's Keith Daniels showing us how the Ravens and Texans fans are preparing to brave that cold tomorrow. But we begin with Rocco DeSangro live with more on the game. Rocco.
Kai, you can feel the energy around this city. We're talking about a team that hasn't hosted a playoff game since 2019, a fan base that is just absolutely ready to erupt when their squad takes the field at M&T Bank Stadium on Saturday, and an MVP quarterback ready to show the football world that the Ravens are for real. Lamar Jackson talked about how antsy he was on Tuesday. Imagine how Jackson feels the night before the biggest game of the season. The Ravens held a Friday walkthrough closed to media ahead of the divisional round showdown with the Texans, a really good young team that just put up 45 on the Cleveland Browns. But if you think Roquan Smith and the Ravens defense feels any sort of pressure, you might want to think again.
Pressure, hell, I don't feel pressure at all, but some do say pressure bursts pipes will make diamonds. And hey, you know, I know a lot of guys in there like diamonds, so I would say we're in the diamond making business at the end of the day. But at the end of the day, we just got to come out and be who we are, and that's going to start from the first play to the last play, send a message, exactly who we are and what we've been all year. And this is a new year right here, so everybody is 0-0 going into each and every game, and it's about winning the game at hand, and that's our focus. And I know if we do everything to the standard that we know, everything else will work out for us.
I'll tell you what, if Roquan Smith can't fire you up for a game, I don't know who will. Tight end Mark Andrews will not play in this one after the Ravens chose not to activate him for the divisional round. Kickoff at M&T Bank Stadium, that's scheduled for 4:30 p.m. Should be a good one.
Good indeed, Rocco. Thank you. And despite the cold, the Ravens fans will be flocking to M&T Bank Stadium tomorrow, and they're not the only ones. Fox 45's Keith Daniels found a herd of Texans fans in Fells Point. He joins us live at the stadium. Keith, how many fans are there?
Lots of them. Now, Kai, as you know, I'm from Texas, born and raised in Dallas. You couldn't grow up in my daddy's house without being a Cowboys fan. Now, I'm all about purple. Go Ravens. But tonight, the Texans are here.
Right here, baby. It's gonna be a win. Let's go, baby! Let's go! He's done!
At Max's Tap House in Fells Point, a troop of Texans inside the bar, an invasion of sorts.
Texas! Texas! Texas!
A caravan of fans who call themselves the Traveling Texans, going to each game together, now from Houston to Baltimore, for the big game Saturday.
They're for them to be crying tomorrow after we beat their tail.
Texans football fans, not chilled by the weather, at the pub, excited by the playoffs.
Ravens, we want to win.
Of course I do, but the only problem is you got to mess with the bull's horns. So that's the problem.
At least 100 Texans traveled here together.
Texans!
But inside the room, they're not alone.
You're going to need all the luck you can get, buddy.
A member of the Ravens flock, Big Al, who's from Baltimore but moved to Houston. Back in the city now, standing by himself. amid all those Texans.
That's pretty brave of you standing here. Yes, because I got some cousins here, so I got to come support them.
The Lone Raven versus the Texan.
And the Ravens, it's our year, babe. Everybody doubted Lamar, saying he wasn't that. But let me tell you something, Lamar, he gonna take care of business.
We're coming after him. We're gonna sack him. We're getting the turnovers. We're getting the interception, take away the confidence, and Houston comes away with the win, baby.
Hey, we already beat them once. We beat them. We got it. We got this, man.
Bunches of energy in that building tonight. Earlier, we just saw some crews up there shoveling the snow off. The crews are here tonight getting ready for the big game tomorrow. Well, live now at M&T Bank Stadium, Keith Daniels, Fox 45 News.
Keith, we love you. We love Big Al. He is safe here in Ravens country. No question about that. By the way, if you're heading out to tomorrow's game, again, those temperatures will be dangerously cold, meaning frostbite is a threat. This morning, we spoke with a local doctor about the warning signs and what you can do to stop frostbite.
The two things to look out for are discoloration and pain. As you move from mild to severe frostbite, you start off with kind of reddish skin. It becomes pale and waxy as the frostbite progresses, and then it can become blackened or purple. The most commonly exposed areas are the ones that get frostbite. So your earlobes, your cheeks, nose, chin, fingers, and toes. So hats all the way that cover the ears. Mittens are better than gloves, and then water resistant and warm boots, socks, layers of clothing.
Well, if you do get frostbite, the keys are catching it early. Warm water baths can help the skin heal in less severe cases. Just be careful, please. Well, the cold weather isn't putting a damper on the excitement. Let's see what fans are saying about this playoff game tomorrow. It's going to be so cold down at Raven Stadium tomorrow, but yes, it is. You know that indeed. And extra layers purchased in advance. Bring on the cold and bring on playoff football. That's going to happen tomorrow. The Ravens have tickets still available. Is embarrassing. Do better, Ravens fans. It's cold, but it's not cold like KC. It is definitely cold here. And how about this one? Last one. Quick, sit before the cold takes you. We'd love to have a warm fire, but that's not possible at the stadium. But you can get energized. That will heat things up in M&T Bank Stadium. Well, still ahead on Fox 45 News at 10 o'clock tonight. Our coverage of the winter storm continues. We'll take a live look on the road conditions around Maryland and tell you how to stay safe while you're out there this weekend. Surveillance video shows one of the latest car thefts in Baltimore City. Why the victim says she had to pay fines connected to license plates that weren't even hers before she could get her car back. And Maryland's Black Caucus is standing by the state's juvenile justice laws while several prosecutors call for change. Fox 45 News presses Governor Wes Moore on where he stands coming up after the break. As pressure mounts to make changes to curb juvenile crime in Maryland, the Legislative Black Caucus says it will defend the current juvenile justice laws. Fox 45's Mackenzie Frost is pressing Governor Wes Moore to find out if he'll push for change.
The Legislative Black Caucus of Maryland is pleased to present its 2024 priority agenda.
The Legislative Black Caucus standing by Maryland's juvenile justice laws, especially the Interrogation Act.
We believe that that legislation is a critical bill, and we will defend that legislation this session.
State Senator Jill Carter, a Democrat from Baltimore City, is also one of the architects of the juvenile justice reform in Maryland, and she remains adamantly against making significant changes to the Interrogation Act.
I'll listen to the arguments, but I don't think that there's any need to have them in person.
But we've heard from several states' attorneys in Maryland saying the laws are hindering public safety efforts.
What we're realizing when we talk to young people is that young people, the juveniles, know there's nothing that we can do.
We can't charge them. I mean, essentially, if they are found to have committed the crime, the police just have to drive them home. I mean, that's really all we can do.
Juvenile crime continues to dominate the conversation in the General Assembly. Lawmakers raising constitutional concerns if current interrogation laws are changed.
The Legislative Black Caucus last year in the Maryland General Assembly passed really important foundational legislation to make sure that children in our communities are not interrogated without their constitutional rights of being able to ensure that they have access to an attorney.
Well, prosecutors push back on that notion.
Our youth deserve extra protections. I'm not against giving them extra protections, but we have to act in ways that promote the public safety consistent with those extra protections.
But what lawmakers will do to find a solution remains elusive.
Public safety is our administration's top priority.
Governor Wes Moore rolling out his crime strategy before lawmakers started session.
We've announced an all-of-the-above approach to public safety,
but did not include specific juvenile crime plans in that package. When asked what he wants to see, the governor short on specifics.
a hallmark of what I hope to see in any juvenile justice legislation that's going to make it to my desk can be summarized in one word: accountability.
But did indicate one area of support.
We need to think seriously about lengthening probation for juveniles guilty of gun crimes.
Friday, after the comments from the Legislative Black Caucus,
this Black Caucus will protect our recent policies and laws related to the juvenile justice.
We sent questions to Governor Moore's office asking, does he believe there needs to be changes made to the Interrogation Act? Does he still believe the length of probation should be extended? Does he support the Legislative Black Caucus while it says it will defend the current juvenile justice laws? The governor's team not directly answering the questions, instead saying, quote, Governor Moore is committed to working with the General Assembly to carefully review and address the state's juvenile justice laws. Meanwhile, the pressure continues to build for lawmakers in Annapolis to do something about juvenile crime as prosecutors ring the alarm about what's at stake.
We can only hope that they'll not listen to just folks like me or my 23 colleagues across the state or the chief prosecutors in their counties, but hopefully they'll listen to their citizens, because their citizens are saying the exact same thing. Enough's enough.
Urging lawmakers that this session is critical.
We can't wait forever because this is too big an issue that needs to be fixed.
Everybody is saying we must do something. And right now, the legislature, we're looking at you because you have the power to do something to make this right.
In Baltimore, Mackenzie Frost, Fox 45 News.
And that brings us to our question of the day. Should the Legislative Black Caucus push for juvenile justice reform? 97% of those who voted say yes. To make your voice heard, head to foxbaltimore.com/vote. Still ahead, a special grand jury has been selected to investigate the police response to the 2022 Uvalde, Texas mass shooting. We'll have the latest from court.
I'm Atrell Nashar in Washington, where President Biden concedes airstrikes against the Houthis are not deterring their attacks. Coming up, what the terror group says are their new targets.
We remain weather alert as snow continues to taper and we prepare for very, very cold temperatures tomorrow. Right now, we're seeing wind chills in the teens, in the 20s. They're going to be much, much lower than this, at least through Sunday. Coming up, we'll have a closer look at how cold it will feel tomorrow and when you can expect a warm up in my Weather Authority forecast.
As we head to break, here's a live look at M&T Bank Stadium, where that playoff game against the Texans takes place tomorrow. Making headlines, a special grand jury has been chosen in the Uvalde, Texas situation to investigate the 2022 mass shooting at Robb Elementary and the police response. This marks the first publicly known development in the criminal justice system amid a botched law enforcement response. Jurors are expected to spend at least 6 months investigating. The news comes a day after U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland issued or visited Uvalde, Texas, and delivered a scathing review of law enforcement and the response to the shooting. President Biden is trying to get lawmakers to approve $60 billion in aid for Ukraine. A source tells CNN the worry is that air defense system and artillery ammunition could get depleted. Another source says lawmakers are signaling this is likely the last Ukraine package before the election. House Speaker Mike Johnson argues the United States can't support Ukraine indefinitely without a strategy. And if the president doesn't win his bid for re-election, the next president could have a different approach. Turning to the Red Sea, where Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen continue to disrupt the critical shipping route in response to Israel's offensive in Gaza. President Biden now says U.S. airstrikes against the terror group are not deterring those attacks. National correspondent Atra El-Nashar reports on what this means in the Middle East.
The leader of the Houthis aiming provocative words at the U.S. and its allies. In a televised speech Thursday, Abdel Malik al-Houthi says it is a great blessing and honor to be in direct confrontation with the U.S.
The issue that America and Britain have joined the war directly and that we are now in direct confrontation with the Americans, British, and Israelis does not scare us at all.
The newly redesignated terror group has been carrying out attacks against commercial ships in the Red Sea in retaliation for Israel's offensive in Gaza, where the death toll is nearing 25,000, according to the health ministry under the Hamas-run government. Last week, the U.S. led airstrikes with the UK on Houthi targets in Yemen. President Biden now concedes this.
Are the airstrikes in Yemen working?
Well, when you say working, are they stopping the Houthis? No. Are they going to continue? Yes.
The Houthis say they now view American and British interests in the region as targets. Back in Washington, debate about how to put an end to Houthi aggression.
They need to know they're going to be paying a price for trying to diminish the ability to have commercial shipping.
With the Houthis insisting they cannot be deterred, fears of a bigger war in the Middle East breaking out are only getting worse. Founder and president of Eurasia Group Ian Bremmer says it's impossible that the war stay only in Gaza.
There are too many avenues for escalation. The Americans are unable to deter the Houthis from further attacks in the Red Sea. The Americans also cannot deter Netanyahu and the war cabinet in Israel from continued attacks in Gaza.
An escalating crisis with more players and no end in sight, 3.5 months after Hamas's October 7th attacks. On Capitol Hill, I'm Atra El-Najjar reporting.
That brings us to our national question of the day. Do you trust President Biden's handling of foreign conflicts? 89% of those who voted say no. To weigh in, head to foxbaltimore.com/vote and click on the Pulse tab. The results are in for Thursday's question of the day. We asked, who would you trust more with the issues that matter to you between President Biden and former President Trump? 25% of you said Biden, 75% said Trump. A Baltimore woman says she was forced to pay almost $500 on traffic tickets for her stolen car. The latest incident in the car theft crisis.
Will the abortion issue help or hurt Republicans in 2024? I'm Kelly Gaskins at this year's March for Life rally, and we'll hear some takes coming up.
Fox 45 is on weather alert. We're getting ready for a frigid day tomorrow. You're taking a live look around the region, including M&T Bank Stadium, where the Ravens will host the first playoff game against the Houston Texans tomorrow. If you are planning on going out, make sure to bundle up and have ways to stay warm through the game. Let's check in with meteorologist Jasmine Lomax for the latest. Jasmine.
Thanks, Kai. We are seeing the snow continue to taper around the state. Still a couple of spotty blue areas for some light snow flurries, but after midnight, we're talking mostly dry conditions around the state and temperatures quickly falling. We're getting ready for a big Arctic blast tomorrow, and for areas in this darker reddish purple color, we're talking temperatures between 20 and 40 degrees below average. That includes western Maryland, but around the Baltimore area and other parts of the state, we're going to be close to 20 degrees below average tomorrow. It's really the winds, though, that are going to just make it feel awful and very frigid. We're talking wind gusts up to 30 miles per hour, and with the winds factored in, our wind chills will stay in the single digits. So even though we're getting rid of the snow, still dealing with winter weather this weekend in terms of those temperatures. Here's a look at wind chills currently. The numbers are in the teens and the 20s, and this is much higher than we'll see at least through Sunday as we get ready for those single digit wind chills. Coming up, I'll have a closer look at when we finally start to see a rise in those numbers and how it looks for those going to the game. I'll also let you know when to expect a nice warm up. Back to you.
Jasmine, thank you. A series of severe winter storms are making their way across the country. On the right side of your screen, Columbus, Ohio, and also Philadelphia. On the left, Buffalo, New York. They always get a ton of snow there, and other northeastern cities getting hit by this winter weather. At least 55 people across 10 states have died since last week after multiple storms brought snow and ice to much of the United States. Well, the storms are having an impact on travel. A small plane with 7 people on board had to make an emergency landing in Virginia. According to Virginia State Police, around 1 o'clock, that plane successfully touched down in Loudoun County on a parkway. Luckily, no one in the plane or on the ground was hurt. And take a look at this video of emergency crews getting passengers off a flight in Rochester, New York, after that plane slid off the runway during takeoff. Again here, fortunately, no one was hurt. Crews are hard at work making sure that we don't see a similar situation in Baltimore. These are pictures of BWI's snow removal crews working to clear runways there. The airport says it has more than 150 employees and 60 specialized plows working around the clock to remove snow. As temperatures drop throughout the night, officials are warning of the potential for refreeze, making for dangerous driving conditions, so be careful. This was the scene of an accident in Baltimore County earlier. One vehicle crashed, no one was hurt. We spoke with the Maryland Highway Administration earlier about staying safe.
We always hope that people will be able to stay indoors in weather like this, but if they can't, we tell them to take extra caution on overpasses and bridges, because those are the areas that freeze first. Please leave plenty of room between your vehicle and our equipment, at least 2 to 3 car lengths.
Anytime snow hits, you can have up-to-the-minute forecast at your fingertips. Download the Fox 45 weather app. Search for WBFF in your app store.
That car is my property. I made the payment on it this month, and they're holding my car ransom until I pay somebody else's tickets.
A car theft in Baltimore City is caught on camera. This time, the victim tells Fox 45 News the thieves put stolen plates on her car, and she had to pay the fines connected to those stolen plates before she could get her car back. Fox 45's Jeff Abel has the story.
Car owner panicked when she discovered her car stolen off the streets here in Little Italy recently, but it is what happened next that left her fighting mad.
What's it say up here?
In Little Italy.
I'll go a little bit at a time. Okay, hold on. Yeah, he walked along this wall.
Gia Blatterman's security camera captured the action.
Let me go back to 11.
But no camera.
The guy that came around knew exactly what he was doing.
Could capture the pain of what would happen next.
They have no mercy for taxpayers. They have no mercy for citizens.
It was just after lunch 2 weeks ago when a thief drove away in her neighbor's car. And when it was recovered a week later, her neighbor was anxious to retrieve it.
And I thought I was going to go up there, show them my ID, and show them police report, and be able to leave with my car. That wasn't the case at all.
It turns out the thief had replaced her Maryland license plates with stolen Virginia plates. The police report makes it clear the tags on the vehicle did not belong to the stolen vehicle. But that did not keep workers at the city's impound lot from demanding payment for 9 traffic tickets connected to the Virginia plate, which was now on her vehicle.
She read the tag number off, and I said, that's not my tag. That's the tag that the police officer said was on the car when he found it. And she said, well, I'm sorry, but you have to pay it anyway.
The 9 tickets amounted to almost $500, and the city was not releasing the vehicle until the owner paid up.
That car is my property. I made the payment on it this month, and they're holding my car ransom until I pay somebody else's tickets.
Incredible that a person should be subjected to this.
It took 3 days before the owner, who asked not to be identified, could pay the state for a new license plate and pay the city for those unknown traffic tickets.
You have a criminal that takes your car, and then they treat you like a criminal when you go pick it up, and then they become the criminal because they won't release it.
The stolen vehicle is now back home, but the owner may never recover from the prospect of paying 9 traffic tickets for the very thief who stole her car.
It's almost like they're stealing twice. It's like twice baked.
We did call the city about this case, and they tell us they are now investigating, trying to understand what went wrong and why. Jeff Abel, Fox 45 News.
Jeff, thank you. This isn't the first time that we've heard a story like this. In September of last year, Fox 45 told you about a Rosedale woman who had to pay a speeding ticket after her car was stolen. According to Cindy Garofalo, her car was stolen outside her home on August 11th. The car was found in Baltimore City. The next day, it was taken to an impound lot. Garofalo told us that the city sent her 2 letters saying that her vehicle would be sold at auction if it wasn't picked up in 11 days. She learned that she needed to pay for 2 speeding tickets associated with the car before it could be released. However, according to the tickets she shared with Fox 45, her car was caught speeding hours after it was stolen.
They said, well, it would probably happen while it was stolen. They told me that. And I said, well, why should I have to pay for it? They said, well, we're not going to release your car unless you pay the 2 speeding tickets. I had to go online and pay it. $80. And now I have to go to jump through hoops to try to get them to give me my $80 back.
If you have a story about a stolen car or know someone who's been impacted by auto theft, we'd like to hear about it. Scan the QR code on your screen and tell us what happened, or send us an email to news@foxbaltimore.com. Thousands gathered in the nation's capital for the 51st annual March for Life rally. Abortion is poised to be a contentious issue for state, local, and national elections this year. National correspondent Kayla Gaskins has the story.
The marchers came from all over the United States. Where did you guys come here from?
Denver, Colorado.
Turning the less than ideal weather conditions into a symbol of their movement's resilience.
It's exciting to be here. It's really cold, and look at all these people.
There were politicians, priests, and celebrities. Michigan head coach Jim Harbaugh making an appearance fresh off winning the National College Football Championship. Anti-abortion supporters scored a major win when the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade, but the issue is far from settled.
As soon as that was overturned, everyone decided to come after us, and so it's more important than ever to keep sticking up for life. We're just getting started. This is only the beginning.
Notably absent from Friday's event, any sign of pro-abortion rights counter-protesters. Democrats aiming to position abortion access as a top topic for 2024, perceiving it as a political weak spot for Republicans.
The Democrats have found their voice. They have made this top priority. Our guys, not so much. The abortion issue can really advantage our candidates if they step up and say the right things.
Marjorie Dannenfelser with Susan B. Anthony Pro-Life says they would support a 12 to 15-week federal abortion ban.
I want to save every baby, and so does the pro-life movement wants to save every baby. But we know that that's not how democracy works.
This week, Florida Senator Marco Rubio laying out a 3-step strategy for Republicans to win over voters on abortion. That includes pushing a pro-family agenda, extending the child tax credit, and guaranteed paid parental leave.
Marco Rubio's plan has my 100% endorsement. It makes me wish he was running.
Data shows most Americans don't support unlimited access for abortion. A new poll by the Knights of Columbus reports 2/3 of Americans support at least some level of government-imposed abortion restrictions. On the National Mall, I'm Kayla Gaskins.
In a taped interview with CNN, Attorney General Merrick Garland dismisses claims that the Department of Justice is targeting former President Trump for political reasons. He also says there should be a speedy trial in the election subversion case.
Prosecutions that you're talking about were brought last year, and the special prosecutor has said from the beginning that he thinks public interest requires a speedy trial, which I agree with.
You agree with that?
I do.
Well, Garland was referring to special counsel Jack Smith. The trial is set for March in Washington, D.C., but the case is getting put on pause while a dispute over Trump's claim of presidential immunity goes through the appeals process. It is unclear at this time if that case will go to trial before the 2024 election. Former President Trump is taking aim at GOP rival Nikki Haley, this time mocking her name. In a post on social media, the Republican frontrunner repeatedly referred to Haley as Nimbra, saying that she, quote, doesn't have what it takes. Now, Haley is the daughter of immigrants from India. Her full name is Nimarata Nikki Rwandan, but she says she always goes by her middle name, which is Nikki. At a CNN town hall last night, Haley said name-calling is a sign that Trump feels threatened.
That's what he does when he feels threatened. That's what he does when he feels insecure. I don't take these things personally. It doesn't bother me. I know him very well, and this is what he does. I know that I am a threat.
Well, it comes following this month when Trump falsely claimed Haley was not eligible to be president because her parents were not U.S. citizens when she was born. Haley was born in South Carolina, making her a natural-born citizen and eligible to be president. South Carolina Republican Senator Tim Scott is expected to endorse former President Trump ahead of New Hampshire's primary, the New York Times is reporting. If that happens, it would be a big blow to Haley as she works to stay competitive in the Granite State. His endorsement could also spur talk of Scott as a possible running mate. The report says that he came to his decision recently. Scott ended his own presidential campaign